the brutal murder, a horrific massacre of dozens of innocent people. We pray for their families who are grasping for answers with broken hearts. We stand with the people of Orlando who have endured a terrible attack on their city. Although it's still early in the investigation, we know enough to say that this was an act of terror and an act of hate. And as Americans, we are united in grief, in outrage, and in resolve to defend our people. I just finished a meeting with FBI Director Comey and my Homeland Security and National Security advisors. The FBI is on the scene and leading the investigation in partnership with local law enforcement. I've directed that the full resources of the federal government be made available for this investigation. We are still learning all the facts. This is an open investigation. We've reached no definitive judgment on the precise motivations of the killer. The FBI is appropriately investigating this as an act of terrorism, and I've directed that we must spare no effort to determine what, if any, inspiration or association this killer may have had with terrorist groups. What is clear is that he was a person filled with hatred. Over the coming days, we will uncover why and how this happened, and we will go wherever the facts lead us. This morning I spoke with my good friend Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, and I conveyed to him the deepest condolences of the American people. This could have been any one of our communities. So I told Mayor Dyer that whatever help he and the people of Orlando need, they are going to get it. As a country, we will be there for the people of Orlando today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come. We also express our profound gratitude to all the police and first responders who rushed to harm's way. Their courage and professionalism saved lives and kept the carnage from being even worse. It's the kind of sacrifice that our law enforcement professionals make every single day for all of us, and we can never thank them enough. This is an especially heartbreaking day for all of our friends, our fellow Americans who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. The shooter targeted a nightclub where people came together to be with friends, to dance and to sing and to live. The place where they were attacked is more than a nightclub. It is a place of solidarity and empowerment where people have come together to raise awareness, to speak their minds, and to advocate for their civil rights. So this is a sobering reminder that attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us and on the fundamental values of equality and dignity that define us as a country.
To start rolling! On your mark. Get set. Go in. I'll be back.
I wanted to show here ISIS, this group here, ISIS. I mean, this has so many connections to the secret governments of the USA and to the secret governments of Britain and Russia and that this whole group is actually a new world order group, basically made and financed by the world elite powers that want to tear down the system and start their new world order of persecution, exactly like ISIS and this group here. This will grow, and it will continue to grow. And the governments are not going to stop it. They're just going to use it for the news things. This is a spiritual thing going on. This has been planned for, I mean, it's written in the Bible to happen for all of these things to go on. It has also been planned by the world elite. It's even shown in TV shows all the way back to 1987. The Running Man, right here. I've shown that the Kaaba, the cube, is associated with the law and pain and misery. Jesus Christ sits above the law on the mercy seat of Christ. What's inside of this cube of the Kaaba? For one thing, you have to know Allah is not God. On the top of every single one of these mosques, written right here, it says Allah has no son, Allah cannot beget a son. Why would they put that on there? Because all of Islam, the only thing that their real job is to do is to deny Jesus Christ is the Son of God risen from the dead. All of Islam says Jesus was just a prophet, that he was not a son of God, and that he was not killed, and that he was not risen from the dead. They deny Jesus Christ is the Son of God risen from the dead. They're antichrist, and they believe in pain and submission. Just as in this right here, as I show this guy right here, Hellraiser, Pinhead, this darkness that comes out of the box. See the box right there? Just like Pandora's box. And his name is also Pain, as well as Pinhead. But he brings pain and misery and torment. Right here in the 1987 game, you can see that they bring their new world order, and it's called ICS. ISIS, right there. And they bring pain. See this right here? The world elite governments are bringing ISIS and bringing pain and misery to the world. It's been shown over and over again. It's the same thing over here in, excuse me, the Hunger Games. See right here? With Jennifer Lawrence, the woman with the arrow, the woman catching fire, the world on fire, and World War III coming, Armageddon, right there. It's shown over and over again.
Great big shout out to our family in Charleston. This came from Sister Nikki Marie. Also big shout out to Brother E. And this is more evidence that they are doing things now to get man to run and jump. Let's continue. And they're going to use that energy. They're using that energy to help to magnify the effects of wickedness on mankind. They know that the energy of wickedness, vileness, blood sacrifice, deception, because within every false flag you have two sides, the Gemini, totally in full effect, or the Janus, the two-headed deity, the double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. You have the one side that presents an obvious hoax that everybody and their mama is picking up on. Type in Pulse shooting hoax or Orlando shooting hoax. Okay? That is the most viral thing going on about the shooting. You'll find more about that than you will, quote unquote, facts from quote unquote mainstream media. Okay? That's one side of it. They're making sure that we understand there's crisis actors involved and things of that nature, which we did not know during 9/11. But they're also doing something else they did during 9/11. Along with the fakery, there must be blood shed. They cannot do the things that they need to do in their belief system, okay, with the energy that they believe that they can manipulate through quote-unquote magical forces, okay? We know it to be demonic power, all right? They don't believe that they can operate at their full capacity in that demonic energy unless, of course, they get the will of mankind to turn towards sin. And then the Father's wrath and judgment comes down upon man as if that sin and that wickedness is like a magnet. And these witches and warlocks, Bilderbergers, Brotherhooders, whatever term you prefer, okay, servants of the Queen, servants of the Pope, servants of the elite, Luciferians, they believe that they can use the energy of mankind's wickedness and sin like a magnet and pull down wormwood or some great destruction from the sky, bring down the old ones from the sky. And that's what's going on right now at this time. We need all believing, true, effective, and fervent prayer warriors to pray against those curses that witches and warlocks are sending out to bring destruction upon mankind before the appointed time. Of course, nothing can be done out of the will of the Creator. But let's look at this, okay? And then we'll get to more later. North Charleston Police Department accepts Running Man challenge. North Charleston. In a video released Tuesday, the North Charleston Police Department takes part in the latest dance craze after being challenged by the Charleston County Sheriff's Office. In the 4-minute video, officers dance their way to North Charleston's Riverfront Park after the police department accepts the Running Man challenge. The police department has challenged the Charleston and Mount Pleasant police departments to post Running Man challenge videos as well. The video was released on the City of North Charleston's YouTube page. And there you can see them doing the Running Man challenge. Now, for those of you who are a little younger than your uncle here, the Running Man is a dance we was doing in high school. Along with that high top fade that y'all wearing now, we was wearing that in high school. It's interesting how things go in cycles. And now we're coming back to a cycle or a revisiting of that early 90s, that late 80s, early 90s era, which happens to be when a movie came out based upon a book. And that movie was called Running Man. That movie was set in a dystopian, new world order, lockdown, martial law controlled society, where the number one way to control the public had become this game show, where they would often use criminals or people who had been accused to be criminals, such as in the case of Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the movie, and they would oftentimes even trump up the news stories and use fake footage and splice in fake vocals and fake visuals to manipulate the audience who was enthralled with this show. It was their only means of release and a way of them feeling as if they were empowered or not so bad off when they can look at these criminals receive, quote unquote, their justice in this game in which they're stalked down and hunted and killed live on screen. That was the movie The Running Man. Now, there was a dance that came out. They say it was based off of this and based off of that, but it was one of the hip-hop dances, quote unquote, during the golden era. Really, as the golden era changed and we was going into the Hammer era. MC Hammer did not create the dance, but he is probably most famous for doing it. Some people say Janet Jackson and Rhythm Nation, which is, again, the symbolism of this one world order society coming together in the Rhythm Nation video and tour. Okay, that was the military symbolism there, similar to what her brother was doing. Okay, but Hammer made it most famous in the video for You Can't Touch This, in which he was hitting it. Hammer could bug, okay? He was hitting it. But that's the old Running Man. They've updated it a little taste. And it's interesting, in the song You Can't Touch This, the most memorable line we all remember is what? Stop, hammer time. Hammer time is also symbolic for the coming of this police state, of this socialist society, in which everyone's basically going to be a worker under the corporate elite. And the symbol of that style of politics is, you know, one of the symbols associated with that style of politics called socialism or fascism. One of the symbols is, because communism is really the same thing, an offshoot, or really the same thing as socialism, but the symbol of the hammer and sickle, okay, or the arm and hammer, okay, same as on your arm and hammer box, which your grandma brushed her teeth with, and she's probably very smart. My grandma used the arm and hammer and hydrogen peroxide. Never used, very seldom used toothpaste, only in a pinch. And she kept all her teeth, and she passed away in her 80s. She kept every tooth. But I digress. But yes, so the hammer coming down. Remember the hammer in the news cycle? Okay, I did the video on that, hammer time. Okay, hammer time is upon us. The hammer is about to hit or strike. Strike with a hammer. Okay? And something is about to strike that will cause people to be running and jumping. This is the code that we're seeing within this. Okay? Also, during the Running Man movie, the government had changed to a corporate entity known by 3 letters. ICS, ICS, ICS. And the year that is mentioned in the prologue to the movie is 2017. This is a movie that came out in 1987, I believe. The book was written by Richard Bachman, who was credited in the opening credits of the movie. However, Richard Bachman does not exist, according to what we know now. Through a little research, you can find it out too. Richard Bachman was one of the many pen names or aliases of Stephen King, horror author. Something horrific is coming. That's really a part of a game that's being played to control the people and bring forth a martial law, socialist, new world order state. And it's coming. And it's going to cause a lot of running and jumping and panic. So let's look at some more things. In that video I did the day before the shooting, I said that something was going to pop and that it would probably be something involving the gay community. We said that that's one of the things to look for during this season or this Gemini news cycle, according to the occult elite. But let's look a little bit here. Supposedly Sunday at 2:02 a.m. Eastern Time, shooting erupts at Pulse. You see the duality. 2:02. You stretching? Let's continue. An officer working extra duty in full uniform at the club responds after shots fired at 2:02. He and 2 officers nearby opened fire on the shooter, and a gun battle ensued. The shooter goes back inside the club where a hostage situation develops. Some 100 officers from the Orange County Sheriff's Office and the Orlando Police Department respond to the chaotic scene at 2:09 a.m. Eastern Time. Pulse posts an urgent message on Facebook. Everyone get out of Pulse and keep running. Next, now again, 2:09, that's 11, that's duality. The next one we're going to look at approximately 2:22 a.m. Eastern Time. See the duality there? You see the 6, used from the 6 for real. Shooter calls 911 to pledge allegiance to ISIS. Now, where they do that at? Orlando, Disney World, La La Land, mind control headquarters. Center of illusion and delusion, and a reported place where celebrities and assassins have both been taken to for mind control programming and MK Ultra rituals. Now 3:58 a.m. again duality 8 and 8. A post on Orlando Police Department official Twitter account says shooting at Post nightclub on South Orange. Multiple injuries. Stay away from the area. All right. Now, during this same time period, news cycle, authorities also reported that a boy that was 2 years old was taken by a gator at a upscale Disney hotel. What coincidence, but what abomination and blood sacrifice. Okay, now, again, we see crisis actors because they want to spin the story a certain way. They don't want things told like there was somebody holding the door to keep people from escaping. That's what a normal person would say organically in that situation. So in order to keep certain organic facts from coming out, you must have actors who will feed the public the information that the powers that be want them to have so they can cut this event or use this event like Hillary Clinton once said and others, Kissinger. You know, sometimes you can use a tragedy to help push certain policy forward, quote unquote, not quoting, but paraphrase. So now, these things being done constitute demonic rituals. Okay, again, I believe somebody threw the boy into the water or the boy was given up. Okay, that's what I believe. First of all, I mean, how weird does that sound? But secondly, if a gator take a little boy, it's rap city. Gator do that barrel roll once he locks down on you. It's worse than a pit bull lock. But once he done locked down on you, take you out into the water and spin you. And trust me, you can hold his breath longer than you can. So the fact that authorities went looking and all that, and it made the news during this same news cycle, understand, they were drawing energy. They, who the witches and warlocks in power, okay, and their spiritual peons and minions, they were drawing from the energy of fear, confusion, panic, and death, because they're trying to bring down death. So there had to be death involved. But let's continue. Okay, then there's also this. Prior to the Running Man that we're most familiar with, that was based off a book by Stephen King, which he wrote under an alias, Richard Bachman, there was this Running Man, a 1963 film with some interesting details. The Running Man is a 1963 British drama film directed by Carol Reed, starring Lawrence Harvey as a man who fakes his own death in a glider accident, then runs into trouble when an insurance investigator starts taking a close interest. Okay, it was filmed in San Roque, Cadiz, Spain, Gibraltar, and Ireland. The film opened at the Odeon Leicester Square in London's West End on the 1st of August, 1963. Now that's going to come back to us, the 1st of August. The film briefly came to the attention of the Warren Commission, investigating the assassination of President John F. Kennedy because of a viral marketing campaign, which that was not even a term that was being used back then, okay? But because of a marketing campaign which placed personal ads in the Dallas Morning News asking the, quote, Running Man, unquote, to please call, quote, Lee, unquote. Investigators thought that they might be coded messages placed by assassin Lee Harvey Oswald until they discovered the source of the advertisements. In Hollywood, an urban legend arose claiming that the film was a flop because it starred actors named Lee and Harvey. Can't make this up. Now, let's look a little bit more at the plot. In Croydon, England, seemingly grieving Stella Black, played by Lee Remick, has just returned home from her husband's funeral. Apparently, he died in a gliding accident when the glider he had rented crashed into the sea and his body was never recovered. In reality, she knows her husband is still alive and has been hiding at a seaside boarding house for 3 months under the assumed name of Erskine, a shoe salesman on vacation, between the time of his death and the funeral. He has just clandestinely returned home following the funeral. They are perpetrating this ruse to collect on a £50,000 life insurance money payout from the Excelsior Insurance Company. So here we have the false flag. Here we also have an assassination or a huge traumatic event that shaped the nation, also connected with this movie called The Running Man. And I maintain that that's what we have now. The pulse and the running man are connected. And let's look a little bit at that. Now, it does not take a rocket scientist to see a connection between a running man or a jumping man and a pulse. Nor is it a stretch to connect the spirit of fear to a pulse when one's heart rate increases. Also, this is the time when men's hearts will begin to fail them from fear because of what is being drawn down right now by the wickedness of mankind. And what we were told through Brother Charles, who was the direct connect hearing straight from the Father, was that at the time of the report, it would be 50 days. Now, even when the Father gives prophecy, there's still a measure of faith that must come behind that, okay? So people don't worship the man of God or look toward the man of God for the answers, okay? The Lord will reveal a bit. You see through a glass darkly or dimly. So what was revealed was that the witches and warlocks do their nightly rituals without fail, okay, very fervently. We're using this energy that man is producing by his will to do sin, to draw down this thing before the appointed time, okay, that it would be allowed. However, the Father is holding it back 50 days. So now that was a day that would have brought us to August 1st. So now it's unclear whether in the 1st of August the comet will strike, or the 1st of August the comet will be released or loosed. And then how long would it take for it to get here? It's near the sun, we're told. So this is what we were told, again, by the supernatural connection that the Holy Spirit has allowed for us to have with the Father, okay, by the Father's will, through the Holy Spirit, okay, by the way of the Messiah. So again, it's never for fear, it's always for awareness, okay. It's part of why I believe Brother Charles was moved, okay, because he lives on the coast. What we were told is that it's going to strike one coast, and then because of the ensuing panic and chaos, something will happen on the other coast. And this will drive things toward the middle, a more manageable middle for the New World Order. Well, in that video I did the day before the shooting, I said that something was going to pop and that it would probably be something involving the gay community. We said that that's one of the things to look for during this season or this Gemini news cycle, according to the occult elite. But let's look a little bit here. Okay, supposedly Sunday at 2:02 a.m. Eastern Time, shooting erupts at Pulse. You see the duality, 2:02. You stretching? Let's continue. An officer working extra duty in full uniform at the club responds after shots fired at 2:02. He and two officers nearby opened fire on the shooter, and a gun battle ensues. The shooter goes back inside the club where a hostage situation develops. Some 100 officers from the Orange County Sheriff's Office and the Orlando Police Department respond to the chaotic scene. Now, 2:09 a.m. Eastern Time. Pulse posts an urgent message on Facebook. Everyone get out of Pulse and keep running. Next, now again, 2:09, that's 11, that's duality. The next one we're going to look at approximately 2:22 a.m. Eastern Time. See the duality there? You see the 6. Used from the 6 for real. Shooter calls 911 to pledge allegiance to ISIS. Now, where they do that at? Orlando, Disney World, La La Land, mind control headquarters, center of illusion and delusion, and a reported place where celebrities and assassins have both been taken to for mind control programming and MK Ultra rituals. Now 3:58 a.m. again duality 8 and 8. Post on Orlando Police Department official Twitter account says shooting at Post nightclub on South Orange. Multiple injuries. Stay away from the area. All right. Now, during this same time period, news cycle, authorities also reported that a boy that was 2 years old was taken by a gator at a upscale Disney hotel. What coincidence, but what abomination and blood sacrifice. Okay, now, again, we see crisis actors because they want to spin the story a certain way. They don't want things told like there was somebody holding the door to keep people from escaping. That's what a normal person would say organically in that situation. So in order to keep certain organic facts from coming out, you must have actors who will feed the public the information that the powers that be want them to have so they can cut this event or use this event, like Hillary Clinton once said, and others, Kissinger. You know, sometimes you can use a tragedy to help push certain policy forward, quote unquote, not quoting, but paraphrasing. So now, these things being done constitute demonic rituals. Okay, again, I believe somebody threw the boy into the water or the boy was given up. Okay, that's what I believe. First of all, I mean, how weird does that sound? But secondly, if a gator take a little boy, it's rap city. Gator do that barrel roll once he locks down on you. It's worse than a pit bull lock. But once he done locked down on you, he take you out into the water and spin you. And trust me, you can hold his breath longer than you can. So the fact that authorities went looking and all that, and it made the news during this same news cycle, understand, they were drawing energy. They, who the witches and warlocks in power, okay? And their spiritual peons and minions. They were drawing from the energy of fear, confusion, panic, and death. Because they're trying to bring down death. So there had to be death involved. But let's continue.
Star singer shot and killed after a concert in Orlando Friday night. Police say 22-year-old Christy Grimmie was signing autographs when a man who did not know her opened fire. Just moments ago, that shooter was identified as 27-year-old Kevin James Liobel.
Now, police say he shot her, then turned the gun on himself. Lauren Lister has the latest from Orlando.
She dazzled everyone, fans and famous alike, first as a sensation on YouTube. Then reality TV, placing third on season 6 of NBC's The Voice.
Hey guys, what's up? We're in Orlando today. Please come to the show.
But Friday night, right after this concert in Orlando, a gunman silenced singer Christina Grimmie. The 22-year-old murdered while meeting fans and signing autographs.
Police say it was a deranged fan who pulled the trigger. Police have now identified him as 27-year-old Kevin James Liobel. They say he traveled from St. Petersburg, Florida to Orlando and shot Grimmie in front of about 120 fans as she signed autographs. Police say her brother tackled the shooter, who then killed himself during the struggle.
If you are a fool, you will be trapped.
on the breaking news out of Orlando, the terror attack on a gay nightclub. Right now, at least 20 are dead, maybe more. The shooter also dead. Police say that he was well prepared. He was organized. They do not believe that he was from the area. More than 40 have been taken to a local hospital.
Terrified witnesses describing the horror of hearing the gunshots, seeing people injured during the chaos. Let's listen now to what they've been telling us this morning.
My son was in there with his boyfriend and 2 other guys. They heard about 20 shots.
Get out of here. Oh my God, dude. That went bam, 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 bam. People screaming and falling. Everybody was running.
I got a text message from my daughter and my 2 nieces. Please come and get us.
Please come get us out because he's about to kill us.
Nobody knew what to do.
He was like, I don't want to look up because he's, if I look up, he might shoot me.
There was bodies everywhere, and I was crawling. I just kept crawling.
I don't know if he was left in the club, if he got shot, or if he's being worked on here. I don't know.
In the parking lot, they were tagging him red, yellow, so that they know who to help first and who not to help first.
He said he was going to die and he loved me. That's the last thing I heard. It's terrible. He's my only child.
My son, he got shot 3 times.
Oh, so much heartbreak and anguish from those families.
Good evening to you. I'm Christine Johnson. An Orlando nightclub is still a crime scene after the worst terror attack in the U.S. since September 11th. Right now, crews are removing the bodies one by one. 50 people were killed, 53 others wounded in this shooting. Police say the gunman pledged allegiance to ISIS before the attack. And we're also learning more about him from the FBI and his ex-wife. Florida's governor declared a state of emergency as this investigation continues, and we have team coverage of the attack and also stories of survival. Let's begin with Lou Young. He is live in Orlando outside the nightclub. Lou?
Christine, this time last night, the Pulse nightclub up the block here was a room full of people enjoying the freedom of a Saturday night on the town. Music, dancing, hours from disaster, experiencing a sudden barrage of hatred and death we're still trying to process tonight. The patrons inside the Pulse nightclub first thought the gunshot sounds were part of the show. Then they saw the people fall as the sounds kept coming and the blood was everywhere.
Oh my God, they're all shooting back and forth.
It wasn't until you could start smelling the ammunition that people actually got the hint, and they heard it repeated. That's when everybody dropped to the floor. And it was just complete utter chaos.
It was one man with a military-style assault weapon. 29-year-old Omar Mateen had an AR-15 and a handgun as backup, and he just kept shooting.
I want to say there was anywhere from 45 to maybe 60 rounds being shot. And as soon as he depleted one of them, he put another one in, and he was just basically just swiping around. No specific purpose, just kind of just shooting anybody and anything.
The New York-born resident from Port St. Lucie, Florida, called 911 from inside the club between barrages.
It has been reported that Mateen made calls to 911 this morning in which he stated his allegiance to the leader of the Islamic State.
More than 100 casualties in the popular gay nightclub, at least 50 dead, most killed in the opening minutes of the attack. Police stormed the place after a 3-hour standoff using a controlled explosion and a vehicle to break through a wall. Mateen was shot dead. 30 survivors were still inside the club. Our memories are seared by the sound of a frantic mother's voice. The horror we all woke up to on a Sunday in June.
But I don't know where my son is. No one can tell me where my son is. If he's been shot, if he's dead, no one knows.
Push it open and try to escape. And the area was very, very narrow. It was very hard to get through, but we kept on pushing and trying to get as many people as we could to safety. However, the gunshot started. A lot of people were trampled, and there was a guy there that was trying to prevent the door, hold the door closed so that we didn't exit. And he would.
Janelle? Wow.
course, Christina, the sacrifice, Christina Grimmie, forming with a band called Before You Exit. That brought this to mind, which happens to be another Running Man sign. People were running and trying to exit the pulse. If the pulse exits, there is death. But let's look at this. An exit sign is a device in a public facility denoting the location of the closest emergency exit in case of fire or other emergency. Most relevant codes, fire, building, health, or safety codes, require exit signs to be permanently lit. Exit signs are designed to be absolutely unmistakable and understandable to anyone. In the past, this generally meant exit signs that show the word exit or the equivalent in the local language. But increasingly, exit signs around the world are in pictogram form, just a hieroglyph, just a picture, with or without text to supplement. And I thought that was interesting. The symbol is a running man. Post-1982 Japanese exit sign, Running Man, designed by Yukio Ota in 1979. Let's continue. I want to give a big thanks and shout out to the Black Child. He did an excellent job summarizing that event and giving us the most pertinent information. And so, he had already done it, I think, the best way that it could be done as far as painting the story for you. Now let's look into the occult, the double-headed deity, Mammon, Gemini, also representing what? Money. Things are going to get funny with the money. Again, this is a return to the time of the Running Man, which, if you look at the movie, takes place in 2017. Running Man stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. Schwartz and Nager, both words that really connect to black. Schwartz is black or dark in German, and Neger, I maintain, like Negro, Necra, okay? I maintain also has to do with black or dark or dead. However, Google will tell you that Schwarzenegger means harrower of the dark fields, or dark harrower of the fields, from the German Schwarz for black or dark, and Egg meaning harrow. Now what does it mean to harrow? Dictionary.com tells us a harrower is an agricultural implement with spike-like teeth or upright discs drawn chiefly over plowed land to level it, break up clods, root up weeds, etc. It's a threshing device. Interesting. Also, Schwarzenegg is both a village in Switzerland and a place in Land Salzburg in Austria, where Arnie's supposed to be from. And a person from Schwarzenegg can be referred to as a Schwarzenegger. A person from Detroit can be referred to as a Detroiter. Interesting also, Schwarzenegger and Jesse+Ventura are both in The Running Man. As a matter of fact, really it's like the final battle is between the two of them. And what did they have in common? They both went from entertainment to the governor's office. They both became governors, one of Minnesota, one of California. Arnie for California, Jesse the Body Ventura from Minnesota. Revelations chapter 13 tells us that the head wound is coming. Brought down by the will of man. Man's will is to sin. Not brought down by an unjust and vengeful God, but by a God of righteousness who will lead and protect his own from danger, and who is not to be mocked. Revelation 13:3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered or followed after the beast. What beast? The beast that rose out of the sea in Revelations 1. It had 7 heads, 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Perhaps we're looking for a ritual event on 710. Let's continue. Is it in line with this passage? It seems that Deep Impact is about to be seen from now on as a movie that foreshadowed the greatest event that man's evil has magnetically drawn towards him. Or is it Wormwood from Revelations 8 and 11? Which one this event will represent has yet to be revealed, but we know that it goes along with the book, and we know that it is not because of God's hatred or vengefulness. He's a loving and just God. It is because of what mankind, by his free will, has drawn to himself. This is one reason why so much of this current ritual action appears to be going down in Disney World. Disney World, La La Land, or Orlando, also known for its gators. The reptilian energy is strong there. Gator Aid, with the lightning bolt symbol, was developed by University of Florida, was it? To the Gators, okay, whatever team that is down there, okay, the Gators developed, the people behind the Gators developed this drink. And I maintain that in sports, the reptilian brain plays a huge part. And I maintain it's called Gatorade because whatever it does, it must aid that part of the brain. Electrolytes. What is this, idiocracy? Okay, but we should see things manifest around the beginning of August. Okay, and we're seeing things happening at Disney because much of what we're seeing is an illusion. It is fantasy. It is mind control. It is deception. But underneath, just like with Disney, there must be bloodshed. There must be ritual sacrifice, abuse, and sacrifice of children and animals. It's how they get down. It's the way that they believe that they can control, or it's the way that they conjure up the spirits or the entities that allow them to control the negative energy that they coerce man into producing. A variety of ways. If you have any questions about Disney, do a little research. Type in Disney and the occult or Disney and mind control, and just see what you see, okay, and what feels right with your soul. But the evidence is out there. It's been out there for far too long during this time of Gemini, which again utilizes entertainment. Okay. Look at the island of, look at the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. And you will see lots of things encoded in that movie, including the importance of ritual sacrifice to cause one to be a legend. And interestingly enough, Christina Grimmie's brother is heading up, putting together a petition, because she was supposed to be such a video game fan, right? But to put up a petition for her to be immortalized as a character in Legend of Zelda, the video game. Would you believe that? You have to. Truth is stranger than fiction. But now let's look at some more things with names. Let's look at the shooter. And also a little bit more here too on the dance, the Running Man dance. Okay, the shooter's name, Omar, means eloquent speaker in Hebrew. Mateen means powerful in Arabic. Sadiq means honest and trustworthy in Arabic. And Mir comes from Emir or Amir, or prince or commander. So we see some evidence that at least he had delusions of grandeur. Of course, they were given to him by those who programmed him to perhaps lead this team, because now we understand that Gemini, or the duality in all of this, the the twin symbolism in all of this can even extend to the fact that there was more than one shooter. According to early reports, there were two. And then according to that quote-unquote witness account, there was somebody holding the door, keeping them from getting out. But lots of hands had to be involved, again, in order to make this go through smoothly. Also, there's the name of his wife, Noor and Noir, both from the words black. But now in Arabic, Noor means light. Interesting. And Solomon is a play off of Solomon. We know that Solomon is most revered as a wizard by the warlocks in charge, not seen as a king, okay, not seen as one of the wisest kings in scripture. They see him in a different light altogether, and they view him as the master wizard that they revere, and they dedicate their lodges to, and they borrow their magic and their understanding from. Okay, so Solomon, interesting. That points directly to the brotherhood. Okay, they revere Black Solomon and picture the king as a black magician. Again, more duality, also even just in that. Okay, now let's look at this. Also, in the lyrics to the Ghost Town DJ's My Boo, let's look it up, just to be sure. Ghost Town DJ's My Boo lyrics. She refers to prayer. Now, again, for some reason, some basketball players were told probably to do this dance. Okay, the Running Man, which I did not know that they had revisited the Running Man and updated it for today. I had no idea of this, okay? Past clubbing age. My nephews don't do the Running Man. The old one or the new one. But let me just give you this here. In verse 1, from the Ghost Town DJs, it's a 1995 song from So So Def. Jermaine Dupri put it out on his bass music compilation. Every day I pray my heart can win. Every night I pray I can call you my man. I need you, I want you, to have you, hold you, squeeze you. So I'm going out every weekend just to see my boo again. Now boo, like spook or boogie, short for boogie. Again, it really relates to, why did we start calling each other boo? Who knows? But it has to do with ghosts and spooks and spirits. And it's interesting that she prays for this. And it's not made clear who she would pray to for such a shallow thing to occur. Not that you shouldn't pray for your significant other. She's not praying for that. She's praying for a boo. Okay, this is some club stuff. This is some foolishness. But aside from that, it reminds me of the line in Sade's Soldier of Love, Cherish the Day, where she says, this is my prayer, if you were mine. She repeats it to make sure you got it right. If you were mine, I wouldn't want to go to heaven. So again, we see a similar thing even in the Ghost Town DJs lyrics for My Boo, which is the song that everybody does this Running Man dance to. The Running Man dance challenge became viral, okay? And again, when things become viral, you have to ask yourself, how do they become viral? Who's really behind the news and the media? Both the mainstream and the alternative media have operatives in place who help to make things popular for us now on social media and on alternative media as well. Because now we have to get direction from that side, okay? Not just from the mainstream side. People have become suspicious of the mainstream. So it's controlled opposition, okay? Even then, because you create something that you know the opposition is going to gravitate toward to try to fight you. That's problem, reaction, solution. Here we're looking at some of the other things that, it's some weird things going on beside the Mandela effect that, folks have been noticing and whatnot. And all it really is, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, if we can bottom line it, summarize it all, is we are indeed living in the days of Noah, where there are many things going on before our very eyes that we do not believe or really don't want to receive, because it makes you have to take responsibility for the lateness of the time. The time is late, ladies and gentlemen, okay? We're coming to a time right now where You're going to see how much like the days of Noah that it was very soon. Also in the days of Noah, where mankind was doing its thing, eating and drinking and partying and blaspheming God on the regular, okay, clowning the Most High. The Most High put hands on them for that too in the days of Noah. That is also one of the things that we must expect to happen in this time, to make this time like the days of Noah, as Messiah said, who is not a man that he should lie. So, you know, don't be surprised at the things that come before your eyes, especially now. Gemini is on the stage, great performer, will use a lot of things in entertainment and bedazzle you, confuse you with its ability to, with this spirit's ability to catch your attention and confuse you and divert your attention at the same time. Duality personified. But now, Schwarzenegger's name, I thought, also was key, because we've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger with the skull and bones, belt buckle. We've heard about his father being involved in the SS, which was not just Nazi military police, they were occult trained soldiers. So Arnie knows about the occult. It's no coincidence the different movies that he was in, and that he would star in Running Man with his non-acting self. Terrible at saying lines. Richard Dawson killed him in Running Man. Richard Dawson is saying them lines, saying them so well that it brought some things to my mind. I wondered exactly how much did he know about mind control. I maintain that game show hosts like Wayne Brady have to also be trained on certain levels of the occult and mind control. And I believe that Let's Make a Deal was a place that they would send those MK Ultra victims and SRA victims and family members of Illuminati families who are on the lower rung to try to get them little furniture, you know, car, this, that, and the third, to cheat the game in a lightweight way, okay? But we have so many more things that are going to be going on today, that the best thing I can say is be watchful and pray. Shalom. Till later on. Jumpman next.